Hey everybody, what's up?
I don't have the microphone near me at all. Let me get this microphone set up, y'all. And in the meantime, let's
A
pay some
portion of
bills.
today's show is brought to you by Sloan Credit Consulting. Hey, it's LA. I wanted to talk to you all about Sloan Credit Consulting and my personal journey with bankruptcy filing. There was a time in my life where I did not understand how to manage money. Rent, bills, and car payments grew bigger than my income, and I needed relief. I learned most people don't file bankruptcy because of public perception and suffer in silence with collection calls, shut-off notices, and threats of eviction or foreclosure. Sloan Credit Consulting discreetly walked me through the filing process, and within a short time, I was no longer stressed about bills and able to easily start over. If you're considering filing bankruptcy, wondering if you too can get relief by filing bankruptcy, or need help getting your debt under control, contact Sloan Credit Consulting at sloancredit@gmail.com. That's SLOANCREDIT@gmail.com. A portion of today's show is brought to you by Sloan Credit Consulting.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. My name is LA. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad to have you. I love to talk about empowerment for women, pop culture, how it relates to our lives, money, finance, whatever we need to talk about, girl. We're going to get into it on this channel. So make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on, and share it with somebody that you think could benefit from this content as well. I'm so excited to talk about this today because we, I think we need to have a deeper conversation. There is breaking news about Shannon Sharpe and Kanye West. We need to dive in a bit deep, and these conversations need to be had across the community. So let's run the intro and then we'll get back.
Yeah, Drake was patting you on the back. All the rappers. Hey, what's up? Back again. Hey, what's up? It's up to you to do the research. It's up to you.
Okay, so breaking news today about Shannon Sharpe. There are some really salacious details in a new lawsuit brought against Shannon Sharpe by his ex girlfriend, who filed her lawsuit as Jane Doe. She wanted to remain anonymous. She accuses him of some pretty heinous acts in this lawsuit. And I don't even know if I'm allowed to say what is being alleged to have happened to her, but there is some non consent SA backdoor action that she is alleging was never allowed or okay. She is suing him for $50 million. And she also alleges that in addition to the SA, there was also battery. She and her attorneys filed this lawsuit in the state of Nevada. I understand that most of the alleged acts were in Las Vegas. So they had a lot of interaction in Las Vegas. I'm not sure if she's a resident of Las Vegas or if they continually met up in Las Vegas at hotels, or maybe he has a home there. Or, like I said, she's a resident. Now, the complaint alleges, now, let me make it clear this is a civil complaint. This is not a criminal complaint. The complaint alleges that Shannon Sharpe, who is 56 years old, violently SA'd and backdoor without consent the plaintiff in October of 2024, which would have been this last October, and again in January of 2025. He, according to her, blatantly ignored her request for him to stop. That is in quotes in this lawsuit filed in Las Vegas District Court. After many months of manipulating and controlling the plaintiff, a woman who is 30 years younger than he is. Allegedly, she was 19 when they met. This is my biggest problem. If you were 19 years old at the time, are we looking at Shannon as somebody who's like, well, she's legal? Are you one of those type of guys? That is problematic in itself. So apparently, she says that she was controlled and manipulated by him. She uses his age as a reason why she spent time still in the relationship, being manipulated and controlled. She was threatened with physical harm, including choking and slapping her, refused to take no for an answer, despite sobbing and screams. Her attorney is Tony Busby. You may know this man's name because Tony Busby was in the recently dismissed Jay-Z civil lawsuit that was filed in New York State, claiming that Jay-Z was a perpetrator with Diddy in an assault of a minor child who had snuck off to the MTV Awards in 2013, I believe. And she was driven by Diddy's driver to a private residence where Diddy and Jay-Z engaged in activities that would have been illegal. Period. Full stop. Tony Busby was the lawyer on that suit. The case has been dismissed, completely dropped. Apparently, there were a lot of inaccuracies in this woman's story. I don't know if any of it was real, but apparently she has dismissed or retracted the entire case. I don't know. This could be refiled. This could, like, dates could be changed. I'm not sure if it ever made it far enough for the judge to say it's dismissed with or without prejudice, meaning it can be refiled or may not be able to be refiled. Understand? So at the time, currently, Tony Busby's reputation took a huge hit. Although he has won other civil suits against NFL players, Tony Busby's reputation took a hit because this alleged victim was making this story up. Unfortunately, she is on the autism spectrum, I believe. So this kind of lends itself to maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, maybe her memory is flawed. We don't know. But as of right now, Jay-Z has been cleared. There are no pending charges with that suit. I bring that up because this suit, Tony Busby was sought out by this victim and her lead attorney. Tony Busby has a good enough reputation in the legal world that people are still seeking him out to represent them. So I thought that was very interesting to note. But on social media, in the court of public opinion, people are saying Tony Busby being connected to this case makes it less valid or questionable, right? So the complainant, it says the complaint, but the complainant is seeking compensatory and punitive damages of more than $50 million. The Pro Football Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2011. He's played for the Denver Broncos and retired in 2003 following the 2003 season. He won 2 Super Bowls with Denver and then another one while with the Baltimore Ravens. This lawsuit is extremely salacious. The other part that I find very interesting is that Shannon Sharpe's legal team decided that they would bring up the text messages and not screenshots, but they are quoting in their response to this suit text messages from the woman who was in the relationship with Shannon Sharpe. As they did this, as they leaked the information in the text messages, they also leaked her name. I find that to be extremely careless. I don't know if it's illegal. I'm assuming she has a right to remain anonymous. So I find it concerning if they did this on accident. And I don't know, maybe the lawyers are probably more savvy than I am about Nevada law, but I assumed if someone is filing a lawsuit as Jane Doe, there are protections for this person to remain anonymous. I think Shannon Sharpe's team may be trying to hold public court on social media as well, trying to get public opinion behind him or public support behind him to intimidate, right? This is used as a bullying and intimidation tactic. I'll release your name so that now where you work is not safe, where you live is not safe. If you have children, there where you drop them off to school is not safe. I don't like that tactic at all. And some may see it as a legal move. I think it was very sloppy. And I think it would piss off, in my opinion, a normal judge. I'm not from Las Vegas, but in my eyes, I know when I was going through my own personal legal battle with my divorce case, my judge did not like people playing games with him. And most judges don't like that either. You know the law, you follow the law, you did this intentionally, and I'm sure Tony Busby or her legal team understands that as well. This was the bullying tactic. This was the intimidation. You cannot just simply release somebody's name because you feel like it. So I think that's very interesting that they did that. Um, but in the released messages, what I will show you is that they have put together bits and pieces of this relationship, and it's not in the greatest. Like, if you're releasing one line of a text message, of course I could probably pull out things from anybody's text thread and say, oh, this person said this, if I'm just stringing words together. I think that's another like really messy way to respond to this. So this is a statement by Shannon Sharpe's attorney, and I'm going to pull that up now so we can look at this together. So this is what we're looking at here. This is Shannon Sharpe makes a statement. He denies the allegations, reveals the woman's explicit messages to him to show the true nature of their relationship. Where she says, "That's my daddy. I want you to put a big black baby in me." I can't believe I'm saying this on camera. The statement by Lanny J. Davis, who is the lawyer for Sharpe, also released some text messages that I am going to try to enlarge here for you all. It says, "I want you to put a dog collar around my neck, choke me while you're with me. I know you missed this big juicy peach, 25K for each cheek. That was January 1st. And they inserted her name in these text messages. So her name is Gabriela Zuniga. They show that this relationship went on at least since 2023 is this first message they released. And then in 2025 is this message here. They are saying that the lawsuit filed by Gabriela Zuniga and orchestrated by her attorney, Tony Busby, is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions of dollars. It is filled with lies, distortions, and misrepresentations, and it will not succeed. They're saying that this is an effort to extract a large financial settlement. Ms. Zuniga presented Sharpe with secretly recorded video of a consensual encounter. They believe the video has been edited and taken entirely out of context, crafted to falsely portray a consensual act as non consensual. This is huge. I had not read this before, so you and I are seeing this at the exact same time. I am seeing this at the exact same time as you, and I am shocked. So there appears to be video that she has of Sharpe either in the act, a guilty act, a phone call, or a conversation in which he maybe admits guilt. Wow. It says that she is refusing. Now, this could be a legal strategy as well. It said Ms. Zuniga is refusing to provide a copy of the full unedited video. Now, if you're playing in the court of public opinion, saying that she refuses to release the full unedited video is a tactic. To say that she doctored the video and now she's refusing to release it is a tactic. Period. Because it could be, but if you're just telling us that it's edited, it's not real, she manipulated it, what do we know? All we can say is, oh, why won't you give it to them? We don't know that they don't have it. We don't know that what she presented to them is edited. But Shannon and his team are playing really, really, I don't think this is a great take. The woman has a video. You're calling it edited. You're releasing her identity when she filed the lawsuit as Jane Doe. They're playing the court of public opinion and probably going to piss the judge off. Yep. To set the record straight, they continue, we are releasing several of Ms. Zuniga's own explicit messages to Mr. Sharpe that clearly indicate the nature of their relationship was consensual in nature, and in many cases initiated by her with specific and graphic requests. That has nothing to do with anything. Who cares? Who cares? Contrary to the allegations she makes in her lawsuit, these consensual acts continued until January 2nd, 2025, the day after she asked for $25,000 per cheek, as quoted above from her text messages to Mr. Sharpe. There are other examples of text. For example, let's see if I have those here. Oh my goodness, this is terrible. Okay, what I will say in addition to this is that it appears that I'm not sure how people are feeling right now about this situation, because initially when the case dropped today, this is breaking news about Shannon Sharpe. When the case dropped today, people were defending Unc. They were already in the comments. You can't, don't take your guard down. We have to protect these successful Black men Black women were already putting their prayers in the comment section. But now that they see this woman, Gabriella, is not a Black woman, it appears that public opinion is kind of wavering. I see some people saying, this is a snow bunny, this is what you get. Either way, I'm not excited, but I do want to see this play out. I'm going to be glued to the streets for y'all. So y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, like this video so YouTube can remind you to come back. And we'll talk about this further. There was another story that I needed to get out today. It is about Mr. Kanye West. And I am not sure how to feel about this, but it is extremely concerning. Mr. West today revealed that him and his cousin, I'm assuming who is the same age as Yeezy, were engaged in some inappropriate behavior as children. And Kanye released a song called Cousin. And what he says about the song and why he wrote it is extremely disturbing. So let's go over that really quick. Well, not quick, because we need to have a conversation. I am so deeply disturbed by what Mr. West is saying here. So Kanye West seemingly admits to performing acts on his cousin after they saw two men in an X-rated magazine when they were children. He says he performed acts on his cousin until he was 14 years old. So indicating that this was going on for years. A relationship with his cousin. West post on X, this song is called Cousin, about my cousin that's locked in jail for life for unaliving a pregnant woman a few years after I told him we wouldn't look at these magazines together anymore. Perhaps in my self-centered mess, I felt it was my fault that I showed him those magazines when he was 6, and then we acted out what we saw. I find it interesting. Now, this is me. Pause on reading the tweet. This is me. Kanye says here, he makes it a point to say that my dad had Playboy mags, but the magazines I found in the top of my mom's closet were different. He makes it a point to blame his mother specifically for having the magazines that ruined his cousin's life and his own with these acts of indecency. He goes on to conclude the tweet with, "My name is Ye, and I performed X, Y, and Z on my cousin, who was also male, until I was 14. The interesting thing that I take away from this, I'm going to say this. Let me make this very clear. I believe this is true. I don't think this is a made-up story. I think Kanye is getting this off of his chest for a reason. What I find so interesting and so on brand, because I'm telling you what, listen to me when I tell you. Listen to me when I tell you I am an intellect. And what I know for a fact, I am an intellect. And what I know for a fact is that Kanye West, which is so on brand for him, strategically chose to blame the Black woman in his life, truth or not. I don't know if it's untrue or true, but what I'm telling you is that it was strategic to make sure that your father had normal magazines, but your mother is the cause of you performing these indecent acts as a child with your child cousin, and your mother's magazines are what ruined your cousin's life. And your mother's magazines are to blame for him unaliving a pregnant woman. And your mother's magazines are to blame for you and your cousin performing X acts on each other as children. That is so on brand. I'm not saying that it's not true. I'm not saying that it's not believable. What I am saying is that it was strategic. I would not be surprised if we started to see Kanye West take more steps towards his victimhood and blaming his mother. I think this is strategic. It's on brand. It's another very hard dig at Black women, which is, like I said, on brand for Kanye West. This is not new to him. This is what he does. I am not surprised. But again, I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I know it's very late on all the coasts, but I'm so excited I got to talk about Mr. Sharpe, which I'm going to keep my ear to the ground. And I am glad we got to talk about Kanye West and to kind of peel back the layers of that, because I believe that's something that he's wanted to get out for a while. And he may even come out as either bi. I think he could possibly be leaning towards coming out as bi. But I also wanted to address his on brand messaging, his disdain for Black women. I don't even think there are Black women in the Yeezy camp. Do y'all remember when Bill Bellamy, I believe it was Bill Bellamy, said that Kanye West needs a Black woman to kind of reel him in when he's going on these, when he's raging out on X or Twitter? That was so. I'll play it for you. Give me just a second. I want to make sure that I get this. Let me see how I can get this saved. All right, let me play this for you before we go, and then hopefully I'll be able to get the volume where we need it, right? Let's see. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Of course, be sure to share the live. If you're in the replay crew and you're watching it later, be sure to say hi. Let me know where you're from. Like the video. Be sure to subscribe and share. I am going to try and play this very, very interesting take from Bill Bellamy about Kanye West needing a Black woman to reel him in. I'll start it right now for us.
Oh, okay, yeah, because he's kind of
because you know what I'm saying. Like I mean, I feel like he need a real Black woman, like a Black woman to be like, first of all, you not Jesus. Okay. First of all, you from Chicago, so let's get all that and take them boots off. It's not raining. Like you need.
You were in Wisconsin.
Right.
I can see it reeling them in.
Like it'll bring him in. And I do a joke about it. Like I feel like it's either a black woman that's his girl that's really authentically Black, or he need an auntie. You know, I feel like Kanye West need a Black woman.
Oh, okay, yeah, because he's kind of
because you know what I'm saying. Like I mean, I feel like he need a real Black woman.
So, how do you all feel about that? I feel like that's just another ploy to get Black women to do the free labor. Kanye West needs a mental health professional. I understand Bill Bellamy is a comedian and he's telling a joke, so don't let that go over your head. I understand that. But what I also know is that no, no, and Black women are not your mules. They're not working for free. If Kanye West wants a Black woman on his team, he needs to tighten up. That's the point. That's the point. If you want a Black woman on your team, act like you deserve one. Tighten up. Black women aren't coming to fix the problem. We are the solution. So if you think a Black woman on your team is what you need to act like you need a Black woman on your team. We're not free psychologists. We're not free cleanup men. We're not doing any of that. Don't date us to use us for labor, for free labor. I get that Bill Bellamy's joking, but I don't find it funny. So let's pay the bills over here one more time, y'all, and then we'll get out of here.
A portion of today's show is brought to you by Sloan Credit Consulting. Hey, it's LA. I wanted to talk to you all about Sloan Credit Consulting and my personal journey with bankruptcy filing. There was a time in my life where I did not understand how to manage money. Rent, bills, and car payments grew bigger than my income, and I needed relief. I learned most people don't file bankruptcy because of public perception and suffer in silence with collection calls, shutoff notices, and threats of eviction or foreclosure. Sloan Credit Consulting discreetly walked me through the filing process, and within a short time, I was no longer stressed about bills and able to easily start over. If you're considering filing bankruptcy, wondering if you too can get relief by filing bankruptcy, or need help getting your debt under control, contact Sloan Credit Consulting at sloancredit@gmail.com. That's SLOANCREDIT@gmail.com.
Thank you all for hanging out. I really appreciate you. It's late. It's time for me to wrap up today's show. I am going to come back tomorrow. We need to talk about Ladarius, the Dear Future Wifey podcast. That is a mess. And if Ladarius don't clean it up, we gotta report this to the police. It's no way you had this unhinged pastor couple talking as crazy as they were talking. Have you all seen this? If you haven't, before I come back live tomorrow night, please watch the Dear Future Wifey podcast with Kelly Steele and her husband. I believe his name is Marvin Steele. I was flabbergasted. I mean, completely flabbergasted by what I saw and heard. I haven't even watched the full episode. Let me not even recommend you watch the full episode. I will tell you what. What I want you to do is you watch the clips or watch the full episode. It was draining for me. Me and my girlfriend talked about it today on Bonnets and Bathrobes. Be sure to subscribe. Search up Bonnets and Bathrobes. Here on YouTube, you can watch our podcast visuals. And if you're listening to podcasts, you can do Bonnets and Bathrobes in the search on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, Our Heart Music, and FM Player. We are broadcasting Bonnets and Bathrobes everywhere. But that episode from that sick pastor and his wife was exhausting to watch. We even watched a brilliant Dr. Raquel Martin break down what we were seeing, because there are so many layers in how women and then Black families and then Black women are affected by faith in the church. So I'm going to dive into that really, really deep tomorrow. We'll get into all the details about Dear Future Wifey podcast. And let's talk about maybe Nene and Kenya's YouTube, Nene Leakes interview. We'll get into all the details tomorrow. I know it's late. I thank you all for watching. Be sure to like the video and share the video. Have a great night. Bye.